Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Kelley along with my friend Rowlf.
Hey, everybody.
And we are here to read the next two chapters of Mary Pope Osborne's Magic Treehouse series number 20, Dingoes at Dinnertime. So in this story, Jack and Annie were in Australia trying to find the third special thing to free Teddy from his spell. So the last time we read, the end of chapter 6, Jack and Annie had been in a wildfire. They were able to save the Joey, the baby kangaroo, and the koala, and then Teddy was able to lead them to a cave for safety. So at the end of chapter 6, Teddy also helped them find the end of the cave or the way they could get out, and chapter 6 ended like this. They followed the little dog until they saw a flash of light. "Lightning," said Annie. "Lightning and thunder. We're at the front of the cave. Yay!" Annie pulled Jack toward the mouth of the cave and out into a pouring rain. Okay? So the next chapter, chapter 7, is called Rain, Rain, Rain.
Rain.
Yes, rain. So here we go. Rain fell on Jack's head and on the Joey's head. Rain fell on Annie's head and on Teddy's head and on the koala's head. Annie opened her mouth and drank the rainwater. Jack did the same. The water tasted better than any water he had ever drunk. When Jack looked back at the woods, misty steam was rising from the charred ground and burning bushes. And this chapter has a picture at the beginning. Here it is. The heavy rain was putting out the wildfire. "You'll be safe now," Annie said to the koala. "I'll put you back in a nice gum tree, and then you can finish your nap." "I see a tree that's not burned," said Jack. They walked over to the unburned gum tree. Annie placed the koala in the fork of the two branches. "Go back to sleep now," she said softly. "Pretend the fire was all a dream." "Good night," said Jack. The koala seemed to smile at them. Then he closed his eyes and went to sleep, as if he had never been disturbed at all. Jack sighed and looked around. "Man," he said, "we're lucky that a storm came." Annie smiled. "It wasn't just luck," she said. "It was magic." "Magic?" said Jack. "Yeah, the glowing hands and the snake," said Annie. "Somehow they brought the storm." "That doesn't make sense," said Jack. Joey stirred in his pack. Suddenly, Jack remembered something. "Hey, we have to get the Joey back to the place where his mom left him," he said, "or she won't be able to find him." "Where's that place?" said Annie. "I don't know," said Jack. He looked around the rainy gray forest. Everything looked the same. "Teddy can find the spot," said Annie. Without even a bark,
Arf.
the little dog took off across the wet, muddy ground. Thanks for barking for Teddy.
No, you bet.
Once again, Jack and Annie followed him. Jack's back was beginning to hurt from carrying the Joey. "Arf, arf!"
Arf, arf.
Jack and Annie caught up with Teddy. He stood over the Australia book. It was wet, but not burned. "Hooray, we found it," said Annie. "That's right," said Jack. "I left our book in the spot where we found the Joey." "Once again, Teddy helped us out," said Annie. Good dog.
Good dog.
She patted the little dog's head. "Thanks, Ted." Yeah, I'll pat your head. You have a nice hat on now.
Thank you.
"Thanks, Teddy," said Jack. He picked up the Australia book. The cover was wet, but the pages looked dry. The little kangaroo peeked out of his pack as Jack tucked the book under his arm. "Don't worry, Joey," Annie said. "We'll stay right here until your mom comes back for you." "If she hasn't already come," thought Jack worriedly. Jack and Annie stood in the rain with Teddy and Joey and waited. And they waited, and they waited, and they waited. The rain turned to a drizzle. Then the drizzle turned into a light sprinkle. Still, they waited. Jack grew sadder and sadder. Maybe the mother kangaroo had already come and left. Or maybe she'd been caught by the dingoes. Or maybe she'd been killed by the wildfire. Jack was afraid to look at Annie, afraid to say anything. "I know what you're thinking," she said finally. Jack patted the Joey's head and sighed. let's wait a little longer, he said. If she doesn't come back soon, we'll take him home with Arf!
Arf!
Teddy barked softly. Listen, said Annie. Jack listened. The sound was very faint at first, but then it grew louder. It was a squishy sound. It was a squashy sound. It was the sound of big feet slapping through the mud. That's the end of chapter 7. I know, it goes so quick. Well, chapter 8 is called The Rainbow Serpent.
I like rainbows.
Me too. Oh, you sang a song recently, Rainbow Connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that song.
I do too.
All right, so this one's called The Rainbow Serpent. Do you know what a serpent is?
A snake?
Yeah, like a snake, exactly. Here we go. The mother kangaroo bounded out of the trees. She landed 10 feet away from Jack, Annie, Teddy, and Joey. They were all still for a moment, as if they were holding their breath. Then Joey tried to jump out of Jack's backpack. Hold on, said Jack. He put his pack on the ground. The little kangaroo leaped out. He leaped again, and dived headfirst into his mother's pouch. Joey turned himself over inside the pouch, and then he peeked out at Jack and Annie. Hey, said Jack and Annie together. They laughed and clapped with relief. He looks so happy to be home, said Annie. His mother looks happy too, said Jack. The mother kangaroo was gazing down at her Joey. She patted his head with her small paws. And then she looked at Jack and Annie with soft eyes. She's saying thank you to us, said Annie. You're welcome, said Jack. It was no problem, said Annie. You have a great Joey. The kangaroo gave a little nod, and then she bent over and used a front paw to pick up a small piece of bark from the wet grass.
Bark.
Well, not that kind of bark.
Oh.
This kind of bark probably from a tree.
Oh.
Yeah, that's, bark can mean two things.
Oh, yeah.
The kangaroo held the piece of bark out to Jack and Annie. You see the picture?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Jack took it from her. Oh man, he whispered. It's our gift from a kangaroo. The kangaroo then sprang into the air. She bounded gracefully away through the charred forest. Thanks, Jack called. Bye, called Annie. Good luck. Arf, arf.
Arf, arf.
Teddy barked. The rain stopped as Jack studied the piece of bark. There was a tiny painting on it. It was just like the snake painting in the cave. I wonder what the snake means, said Jack. He opened the wet cover of the Australia book. He carefully turned the damp pages. He found a picture of the snake painting. Listen, said Jack, and he read, the first people of Australia are called Aborigines. They have lived there nearly 40,000 years. Their myth takes place in a time they call Dreamtime. In Dreamtime, there is a rainbow serpent who sends life-giving rain.
Wow.
Aborigine artists paint the rainbow serpent on cave walls or on pieces of bark. In special ceremonies, they sometimes honor the rainbow serpent by painting their handprints on the magic snake. See, said Annie, that explains everything. Explains what? Said Jack. We put our hands on the painting of the rainbow serpent, she said. It was just like a special ceremony. So the rainbow serpent sent the rain to put out the wildfires. Arf!
Arf!
Teddy barked. Jack frowned. But it's not a real creature, he said. It's in dream time, not real time. Annie smiled. Then how do you explain that? She said as she pointed to the sky. The rain clouds were gone. The sun had come back. A rainbow curved across the blue Australian sky. Picture it, Rowlf. Can you picture it?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, whispered Jack. Though the air was warm again, he shivered. Teddy led us to the painting, said Annie. We should thank him. How did he know about the rainbow serpent in the cave? Jack asked. I told you, said Annie. He has a touch of magic. They looked down at the little dog. Teddy tilted his head and seemed to smile. Hey, we have all 4 gifts now, said Annie. Oh yeah, said Jack. Let's go home and see if Teddy's spell is broken, said Annie. Arf, arf.
Arf, arf.
Jack put the bark painting and the Australia book in his pack. Then they all headed through the wet, steamy forest in the direction of the treehouse. I hope the treehouse didn't get burned, he said. They went past the clearing, past the gum trees and the bushes. The treehouse was waiting for them. It's still here, said Annie. She grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Jack put Teddy in his pack and followed. Inside the treehouse, Teddy wiggled out of the pack. He pawed the Pennsylvania book. You know what he's going to say?
Arf.
Arf, arf.
Arf, arf.
Okay, said Jack. He pointed at a picture of the Frog Creek woods. I wish we could go there. Over the rainbow, said Annie. And the wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster, and then everything was still. Absolutely still. That's the end of chapter 8. I know. And you know, I was wrong. I said at the beginning they were finding their 3rd thing, but this actually is their 4th thing. I forgot that this is their 4th thing. So now they have all 4 of the special things to free Teddy from his magic spell.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm hoping in chapter 9 we find out what kind of spell Teddy was under. Chapter 9 is called What Boy? I wonder what that one's going to be about.
About a boy.
Probably.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll wait for tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll get to finish this book and read chapter 9 and 10. So you ready to finish it tomorrow?
Yep.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, boys and girls. It was so great to see you, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.